In this episode of A Call to Arms, explosive training for a deployment to Afghanistan. An up-close tour of the large base our soldiers call home. A ride through Kabul in the armored vehicles the troops use every day.
Very armored, very capable, very roadworthy.
And special connections between Afghanistan and home.
Everything's good, so it's easier on us.
I can see you haven't changed.
Hello, I'm Michael Jordan. Thanks for joining us for our special broadcast, A Call to Arms. The stars of this show are more than 2,400 Georgia National Guard soldiers from all across our state, including more than 300 from the Coastal Empire, as well as their families, employers, and their supporters in the community. This is Camp Phoenix, Afghanistan, our soldiers' home base during their year-long deployment here. Before the troops could come here, though, they had to go through months and months of training, including at bases in the U.S., in Indiana, and Mississippi. It's the signature Taliban attack on an American military convoy. A sudden roadside bomb blast followed by machine gun fire from insurgents hiding nearby. Only this time it's an army base in Indiana rather than an Afghan roadway. And the Taliban are really American soldiers just returned from combat, putting their experience to use in training those headed into harm's way.
So when they go into battle, to be honest, it's second nature. It's not something they have to think about.
1, 2, 3, lift! Hey, hold it!
Whoa.
After the initial attack, the stress continues as medics must evacuate the wounded while still under fire.
Make room!
Top trainer Stephen Merkel says this scenario was based on a real attack in Afghanistan less than 4 days before.
Ultimately, what we want to do is kind of ingrain in each of their soldiers an intuitive response so that when things happen, they know automatically how to respond in those situations.
The task force commander says that's what this training is all about.
Okay. You're going to run into the same conditions in Afghanistan, and you got to be prepared 24/7, 365, all hours of the night, all hours of the day.
Okay.
There are at least two essential weapons in every soldier's arsenal: his gun and his mind.
Move it!
Georgia National Guard soldiers deploying to Afghanistan for a year will need to use both. Trainers at Camp Shelby, Mississippi have created this scenario to help soldiers practice clearing buildings held by Taliban fighters.
Oh, it makes your adrenaline pump for sure. I mean, we're throwing smoke, we're throwing rounds down range. We got the crew serve weapons rocking. So really, your blood's pumping, you're feeling on edge. It's definitely a lot of stress they're throwing on us here.
Meanwhile, in a mock Afghan village just a few miles away, other Georgia Guard troops are working on the mental end of the equation, learning to respond to a suicide car bombing while assuaging emotional locals.
Anytime you can inject the human element into training, like with these role players, that creates a dynamic that is very realistic.
The soldiers are counting on fine-tuned interaction with each other and the Afghans they're training to help to get them all home safely when their deployment comes to an end.
I think the most important part about Camp Shelby is to get you away from home, that we can concentrate on your mission and your training. Realistically, it puts us in the same scenarios we'll face while we're over there, and to the soldiers of going through and learning their battle drills and their developing SOPs is very important.
When we come back, tour the big base in Kabul where our soldiers live and work.
How y'all doing today? Cool.
Plus tangible connections to the folks back at home.
And we look forward to seeing you all when we get back next year. Cool.
A Call to Arms continues right after this. Welcome back to A Call to Arms, our special feature on hundreds of local Georgia National Guard soldiers serving in Afghanistan. As you can see by the many flags over my shoulder here at Camp Phoenix, this base is home to troops from many nations. It's also home to our Georgia National Guard soldiers, and though it's not as good as being at home, it's not so bad. Camp Phoenix is a tightly packed urban compound tucked into a neighborhood just a stone's throw from the Kabul International Airport. A few thousand soldiers and many civilian contractors live and work here. Command Sergeant Major Jackie Faulkner, a Statesboro-based soldier who lives near Griffin in North Georgia, is essentially Camp Phoenix's town manager.
We're kind of the elite of the camps for over here. We have it better than most of the people that are out in the field. All the things of home except for home. Okay, so you know it's not a gravy train here, but it's not bad.
Phoenix's mess hall serves up the equivalent of Orion's Steakhouse all-you-can-eat buffet 3 times a day, plus cold cuts for midnight chow, and there are other options for those who get tired of eating here.
We have the Green Bean, we've got a Dairy Queen, we've got a Pizza Hut.
The troops have found ways to create little bits of home here and there, including this relaxing hangout tucked inside a collection of connexes, which the troops refer to as Legoland. Or the Tiki Hut, a 2-story Jimmy Buffett-style contraption plastered with hundreds of cigar wrappers and pictures of famous visitors like Kid Rock.
The Tiki Hut is the resting place and the place that all the brass and most of the people that work the civilian jobs here come to break down and relax, kind of unwind or deflate after a day here.
What y'all doing?
If Faulkner is Phoenix's town manager, then the mayor is his boss, Lieutenant Colonel Tom Bryant of Statesboro.
I'm kind of a people person anyway, so I like seeing people. I think for the most part, folks like seeing me. So it's a fun job to have.
How y'all doing today? Huh? Life treating you right?
I'm kind of a nosy person, and so I like being in a lot of different things. It's like a living Rubik's Cube, and so the idea of getting to wrestle with that thing every day is fun.
To carry the analogy a bit further, General Larry Dudney Jr. could be considered Phoenix's governor, in charge of all the Georgia Guard troops and others mentoring Afghan police and soldiers throughout the region. Dudney officially took command at a ceremony at Camp Phoenix in late August. I encountered several tangible links to home during my time at Camp Phoenix, like the City of Savannah flag the mayor and alderman gave to Lieutenant Colonel Reg Neal and his Guard soldiers during the council meeting on March 12th.
The first condition is that the flag comes back. More importantly, all of you have to come back with the flag. And we fully expect that when you come back, all of you will come back and present the flag back to us. Can y'all do that for us? Ooh. Ooh. Well,
Hello, this is Lieutenant Colonel Neal, commander of the 118th Field Artillery. Just letting the mayor, the city council, and the people of Savannah and surrounding areas know that Savannah flag is safe and sound. We're halfway through this deployment, and we look forward to seeing you all when we get back next year. Hooah!
I also ran into Specialist, now promoted to Sergeant, Adam Andrews, who proudly sports in Afghanistan the lapel pin the Chatham Artillery veterans gave him in Savannah back in March.
I want to let them know that I'm keeping the pin safe, still got it, and plan on returning home with it whenever that is. I want to thank them for that and for giving me the opportunity to represent them here in Afghanistan.
Don't go anywhere, or you'll miss the chance to leave Camp Phoenix and go outside the wire with our Georgia National Guard soldiers as they go on patrol and mentor Afghan troops and soldiers in downtown Kabul.
There's a definite point and purpose to being here. You can see where you're making strides and changes every day, every week.
Later, one Guard family receives a special honor in memory of the soldier they loved. A Call to Arms continues right after this. Welcome back to A Call to Arms. Our Georgia National Guard soldiers are relatively safe here on their main base at Camp Phoenix, but from time to time most of them have to go outside the wire, as they say, to do their jobs, to visit with the Afghan police and soldiers who they're mentoring, the people who will take over security for this country when American forces leave. Shortly after my arrival here at Camp Phoenix, I accompanied some Savannah-based soldiers on one such mission here in Kabul.
Hi, listen up.
It's already getting hot in Kabul as members of the Georgia National Guard's 118th Field Artillery Regiment began their morning convoy ride to an Afghan National Police station. Heavy armored vehicles carry the soldiers to their destination, with the watchful eyes of the top-mounted gunners constantly scanning the passing street scene.
Not get complacent, make sure you scan everything. Any person could be doing anything.
On arriving, the Georgia Guard soldiers are pleased with what they find: a well-organized precinct with cops who man machine gun posts and search everyone who comes through the front gate.
So yeah, they're much more armed at their checkpoints and at their stations for their own protection.
The Afghan presidential election is just a little over 2 weeks away now, and Afghan police officers, like this one here at the Bagrami police station in Kabul, will have a very important role to play, making sure the polling places are secure and everyone's vote is counted. For Staff Sergeant Rodney Ellison, this is more than just a job. It's a chance to make history and make a difference in the lives of countless Afghans.
Oh, that makes me feel good that we're going to be a part of changing a country, and it just makes me feel good, makes my team feel good.
The Afghan Army is benefiting a great deal from its time with the soldiers of the Georgia National Guard as well.
They are always helping us. They are training our soldiers, NCO officers, and also they are helping with the supplies at all the time.
We do more than just teach fighting. We teach accountability, we teach the units how to sustain themselves, we teach language skills. Believe it or not, some boys from South Georgia can actually, give English classes. While I didn't see any Georgia troops teaching English to the Afghans during my stay with the soldiers, I did tag along as Afghan Command Sergeant Major Ibrahim Ahmadzai took his Georgia Guard mentor, First Sergeant Stephen Dowling, on a visit to a literacy class at Kabul's Central Military Training Center. The setting is far removed from the combat training the Peach State troops received before they deployed.
It's not what I expected to do when we left Mississippi or Georgia, but I like it. We've got a lot of good to do here. Sergeant Major Ibrahim, he's great to work with. All of my soldiers are enjoying what they're doing. There's a definite point and purpose to being here. You can see where you're making strides and changes every day, every week. They get better at what they do.
Best part, actually to know you're actually doing something to support their country to make it better.
The man in charge of the Guard's statewide 48th Brigade, Colonel Lee Durham, says this is a mission the troops can believe in.
I don't sell anybody short. I think the Afghan people have shown over and over again throughout history that they're totally capable of whatever they put their minds to.
How do our soldiers stay safe during dangerous missions in enemy territory? Special high-tech vehicles play a role. We'll take you along for the ride right after this. Plus, later in the program, meet one Guard couple that's not being separated by this year-long deployment.
You're not the boss of me. Yes, I am.
A Call to Arms continues in just 2 minutes. Welcome back to A Call to Arms. If you want to go out on patrols or on a mission with our Georgia National Guard soldiers here in Afghanistan, there's some specialized safety equipment and clothing that you have to do it. Now, first of all, you've probably noticed I'm wearing a flight suit. This is in lieu of an Army uniform. I'm wearing it because it's flame retardant. It'll protect my skin in the event of a blast or an explosion around the vehicle. I've also got ballistic glasses to protect my eyes from anything flying towards my face. Mine have prescription inserts so that I can see. Now, obviously, you need to have body armor. Oh, and this stuff weighs about 30 pounds. Has heavy plates in the front and the rear to protect you. I've got Nomex gloves, which, like the flight suit, are flame retardant. And last but not least, the helmet, or Kevlar, as the military refers to it. Now, above and beyond all of the clothing and equipment that the soldiers wear, the vehicles themselves that they use here in Afghanistan offer a degree of protection. Georgia National Guard soldiers travel Afghan roads in a variety of armored vehicles. The variety seen most often is the 1151, or up-armored Humvee, which weighs about 10,000 pounds with its armor cladding attached.
Pretty much a Humvee with a lot of extra body armor on it, bulletproof windows, doors, etc.
Unfortunately, the 1151s are still susceptible to IEDs, the military's acronym for deadly roadside bombs. For maximum protection against the IED threat, troops turn to the MRAP, a $500,000 armored monster which is the Cadillac of modern military transportation.
Mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicle, 24 tons of protection. Very armored, very capable, very roadworthy.
Staff Sergeant Rodney Ellison is a big rig trucker in civilian life and an MRAP driver in Afghanistan. How does it handle?
Oh, it handles well. It's power steering, everything. So.
There is one more military vehicle that gets a lot of attention, though it's definitely not glamorous. It's the vehicle the troops affectionately call the Twinkie, basically an armored bus that moves soldiers around town in large convoys. There are no tray tables aboard, but the Twinkie does feature a gun port at each seat. Of course, handling a vehicle sometimes seems easy in comparison to keeping relationships healthy and strong. Find out how one couple communicates across the miles. Plus, the Bulldog Nation is on the move in Afghanistan. A Call to Arms is back right after this. Welcome back to A Call to Arms. The post office here at Camp Phoenix in Kabul gives our soldiers a way to stay in touch with friends and family. They can mail letters and postcards free of charge. But things have definitely changed over the years. Thanks to cell phones and the internet, our soldiers have even more ways to stay in touch. Amy Harris is raising her son Bob Jr. alone and working her way through a second pregnancy, all without the help of her husband Bob, who's serving in Afghanistan for a year with the Georgia National Guard.
I think it's easier at the age that my son is at because he's only 1 and he can't tell me like full sentences how he's feeling or how upset, but I know he recognizes that his daddy, and I know he misses them.
Amy and Bob have been through this before when Bob deployed to Iraq a few years ago.
This time we're more established and we have, we have our relationship going, everything's good, so it's easier on us. I can see you haven't changed.
You're not the boss of me. Yes, I am.
Specialists Donna and Juan Salazar don't have to rely on internet connections to stay plugged in with one another. This Savannah Guard couple deployed together to Afghanistan and are both in the same unit at Camp Phoenix.
You do it all the time.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. No. Yeah, you do.
They even met in the Guard during a deployment a few years ago to patrol the Mexican border.
We've been together ever since. I can't get rid of him now.
She has a funny laugh. I mean, when you hear her laugh, it's kind of like a sinister, evil type of laugh.
The Salazars work together every day and struggle to squeeze in some personal time when they're off duty. Regulations would allow them to share a room on post, but presently none are available. Still, just being on the same base makes things easier.
It's comforting to me. I know what she's doing. I know where she's at. You know what I'm saying? And as long as I know she's okay, like I said, that makes me feel better than not knowing at all what she's doing.
Believe it or not, even though we are married, he is my best friend.
Make no mistake, this deployment has been tough, especially for a few families who've already lost loved ones who paid the ultimate price. Crystal Beal's husband, Sergeant First Class John Beal, lost his life in combat in early June. On September 5th, Crystal and the couple's children served as honorary grand marshals at a race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
He loved his country. He loved being American, and he died doing what he loved, and that was defending us so that we have great days like this. You don't find this anywhere but in America.
And finally, it seems there's one nation that knows no boundaries, the Bulldog Nation. University of Georgia football head coach Mark Richt placed the 48th Brigade Combat Team's logo on every Georgia helmet during the Bulldogs' home opener against South Carolina on September 16th.
We just want to let them know we're thinking about them, we love them, and hopefully they'll get a chance to see their shield on the back of our helmets for this ball game.
Hey, this is Coach Richt and the Georgia Bulldog football team, wishing the 48th Infantry that is serving our country in Afghanistan the very best. And we just pray the Lord will be with you and you'll come home safe. Go Dogs!
The troops at Camp Phoenix got the message loud and clear and sent back their own message to the team.
All right, I'm Lieutenant Colonel John Gentry here in Kabul, Afghanistan with the 48th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. And we're here to say go!
Well, that does it for this episode of A Call to Arms. Thanks again for joining us, and be sure you join us next month when we'll take you to Camp Black Horse, a base in the Polacharki neighborhood of Kabul, to introduce you to more of our Georgia National Guard heroes. We'll see you next time on A Call to Arms.